Rotterdam, on the west coast of the Netherlands, Europe's largest port. It covers nearly 40 square miles and is home to one of the world's largest oil refineries. Operated by Shell, it's already as large as 1,000 football pitches. But continued global demand for new, cleaner fuel means further modernisation. After months of meticulous planning, Agility Project Logistics are bringing in 2 new pipework modules for the refinery. They're being handed over to Michiel Smetsers, a senior project manager with Mammoet, who has to transfer both giant cubes off the cargo vessel and onto a small red barge.
The roll-dock vessel is too big to go to the final destination. The draft is not sufficient, so that's why we're transferring these modules first to a barge and then moving the barge to the Shell Refinery.
The largest module comes in at 1,350 tons. The second module, 850 tons. The equivalent combined weight of 2,200 cars. Both cubes 33 meters high, 14 meters wide.
This is a big deal. It's not small cargo, it's really big, it's very expensive of course.
The Roll-Dock Storm is a roll-on, roll-off cargo ship and berthed end-to-end with the barge. Michiel can now get on board to see the scale of the task ahead.
We're now in the hold of the roll-dock vessel. The modules are standing on load spreading equipment as well, completely welded to make sure that during the sea passage the module doesn't move. It's a lot of heavy steel, which takes a lot of time to cut it all off as well.
The modules must be cut free from the deck overnight.
All of this will start 12 o'clock tonight, then the cutting crew will start and they have 7 hours to complete, because 7 o'clock tomorrow morning we start coming in with our trailers.
In the morning, the first challenge is lining up the cargo ship with the towers at the entrance to the barge.
When the ramp's coming down, you see it's pretty close to the tower of the barge on that side. So we've taken off some of the ramp to make it fit in between the towers. Now we just have to adjust the barge a little bit.
The Roll-Dock Storm is a semi-submersible. It sinks itself by adding seawater to its ballast tanks to get level with the barge.
The vessel is currently ballasting as well, so going lower, and you see that the ramp is getting almost level with the barge.
It's a delicate balancing operation. There's still a danger each vessel could drift apart or crash into each other.
We've put in some additional stopper blocks to prevent the barge and the vessel coming too close together. We've attached 2 additional winches to prevent the barge and the vessel going too far apart from each other.
Cargo Superintendent Jan Wilhelm Munster has to work with Michiel to carefully connect both vessels.
The ramp is the physical bridge between the barge and the ship. It can take approximately 1,600 tons of load on the ramp itself. It's crucial for the whole operation. The ramp has to be on almost zero level, otherwise trailers get stuck and they can't drive off.
4 trailers or transporters will lift and move the giant modules.
We're going to move the modules with self-propelled modular transporters, SPMTs. You see them here, lots of wheels. It's like Lego, you can connect them all together and they form one big trailer. No matter how big the trailer, it's still going to be operated by one person. You see the trailer is now all the way in the down position, but we can actually move the deck of the trailer up and down about 600 millimeters. Each axle can have about 30 tons, and as you see here, we've got 28 in a row. We've got an extra trailer next to it, so lots of capacity.
In all, across 4 transporters, 50 axles and 200 wheels. 3 hours into the second day, a 19-meter-long convoy of SPMTs moves onto the cargo vessel.
We're driving in the SPMTs at the moment. All SPMTs will position them underneath the module. We have to make sure that we position them in the correct position. We've done all the engineering to make sure and calculate where the trailers actually have to go, that we have the correct center of gravity. Once we start picking it up, we'll actually see if the drawings are correct. We can see what it is in reality.
But the reality is, there's a problem with the measurements.
The supports are a little bit wider than expected. It's only a couple centimeters, so we move up the trailer a little bit.
It's crucial they get the modules perfectly upright.
You can lose your stability, you can overload some axles. Worst case, the modules start leaning to one side.
Precautions are required to avoid a disaster.
Okay, we're going to start rolling.
The smaller module is the first to leave the cargo vessel. 850 tons, with enough pipework to stretch out over 27 kilometers, is carried towards the barge.
It's operated by one person, but of course we have a lot of spotters around. The supervisor will give him the directions. Crew from the vessel, they will make sure that their own vessel stays stable.
But the entrance to the barge is flanked by two towers 17 meters apart. The module is 14 meters wide, leaving just 150 centimeters either side.
Oké, als we ietsje langzamer rijden, laat me weten als je 1 centimeter.
Any wrong move now could cost hundreds of thousands of pounds.
You have to work very accurate with this kind of module. You can lose your stability, worst case fall off.
The port of Ipswich, Suffolk, at the head of the River Orwell, 12 miles inland from the North Sea. More than 50 second-hand trucks need to be transported to the Caribbean.
Nothing? I've got lights, but nothing else.
Oh, we're going to jump start it. They're standing still for so long. Ain't got no energy in the batteries. Oh, you want to try again?
Come on.
Any diesel in there? There you go. You got it.
Des Knott is project manager for Kestrel Logistics and supervising the shipment of the vehicles.
So the trucks we've got here will be loading today on the vessel Bow Trader, which is heading out to the Caribbean. It's good news that some of these old trucks are actually not going to the wreckers or the breakers anymore. They're actually going to be reused into the Caribbean. Have a new life in the sunshine, which is pretty nice. An old truck like me could do with a holiday out there.
After a 15-hour voyage from Antwerp, the Bow Trader arrives in Ipswich. A 118-metre-long vessel capable of taking 6,300 metric tons of general cargo across 2 decks. But on arrival, she's the wrong way round.
The reason we're turning the ship is because the cranes on board the vessel is on the left side, so the ship must come along on its left-hand side or the port side alongside the quay. It's a little bit tight to turn in the river here, but the bow thrusters are working, the stern thrusters are working, so she'll spin around on herself.
The next challenge is to catch her guide rope.
He's trying to throw that tennis ball attached to a small piece of rope to this chap who's going to catch it. Hopefully. Come on, guys! It's 3 minutes past 12. You're late. Throw it harder. This time. That's it.
The Bow Trader has almost 1,300 square metres of deck space, and Des plans to use every last inch.
Okay, so we're starting to assemble the cargo alongside the vessel for ready for loading out tomorrow. We've got some 50 pieces to load: excavators, trucks. Basically, if we start work at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning and we finish at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, we've got to move four pieces per hour.
Before any trucks can be lifted on board, The top deck must be cleared so they can access the lower deck.
They've done them up with the machine.
But the unlashing crew are having problems removing the chains.
I have had my weighted bigs, but we'll try the other end. That one's a bit too tight.
But with some extra levers, the chains are removed. And the top deck can be cleared by the 29-metre-high onshore crane. But there's another problem. 2 giant generators taking up all the space in the hold. European Caribbean Line's cargo superintendent is Benny Kirchhoff. He has to work out how to lift the 2 heavy generators out of the lower deck to make room for the trucks.
We got 2 big generators in the hold, 55 tons each. And we're going to use 2 ship's cranes to do it. Each crane can lift 40 tons. We've got 2 spreader bars of 6 meters length each.
With both of the ship's cranes involved, a unique frame is required to get the first generator out.
They've just attached the lifting devices called side shoes under the generator containers. Everything goes very, very quiet. Everyone's concentrating. It's very, very dangerous now.
Okay, Alvin. Boom. Up, please, go.
In this procedure, most important thing is think before every step you do. That could be very dangerous, especially when you got loads where the lifting slings could shift or things like that. If the load's starting to move, then the slings can move and then the load can fall over.
The generator's being offloaded onto a truck to get it out of the way. But as the generator comes off the bow trader, the remaining cargo on board makes the ship lean over towards the sea.
You're lifting 55 tons and you're going to put that with 2 cranes outside the ship. So you get a momentum, an overhang to this side. So on the starboard side, the crew will have to pump in ballast to compensate that weight.
Ballast is a counterweight, and Benny has to take seawater on board to level the ship. Both cranes must work together closely to get the generators square on the truck.
We have to get it perfectly on the trailer. It's because of the size of the load.
Down both ends!
Any movement, as you can imagine, 55 tons, it's up a little bit, going around a corner. If it's not central on the trailer, it's dangerous.
A little bit more, touch more.
Keep going all the way.
Down, down, down.
Commando, lower, go.
It's down, it's like pulling teeth.
But 3 hours after the bow trader arrived, only one of the generators is off the ship.
We're running out of sunshine and we have to do this while it's light. It's no good under lights at all, so we need to get this wrapped up straight away.
While the second generator is taken out of the hold, as many of the trucks as possible are loaded onto flat racks ready for the morning.
It's like something out of Harry Potter, isn't it?
And Des wants the team in 2 hours early.
It's not much time and it's going to go to the wire. I hope to see cargo flying about all over the place. We're going to get it done tomorrow. Famous last words. I'll be swinging chains around if it's getting late. Even an old boy like me.
In Rotterdam, the cargo vessel Roldock Storm is offloading 2 huge pipework modules onto a transport barge. Project supervisor Michiel Smetsers is trying to squeeze a 14-metre wide unit through a 17-metre wide gap between the towers. With just a narrow gap either side, the module has to be kept perfectly upright. Seawater is being pumped in and out of both vessels and used as ballast to keep them level as the module moves across the ramp. After 75 minutes at less than half a mile an hour, 850 tons of pipework makes it on board the barge.
Frankie, so keep on going.
All right.
Barely fitting in between the towers, but still good enough. Looking good so far. Most of the weight we keep on the trailers. Once that's done, we can start putting in all these stoppers and start welding.
A metal seal around all the footings is the only way to keep the module in place when it travels across the water.
The small one's almost done, and then we have to do the big one.
But the second module is 500 tons heavier.
This module weighs about 1,350 tons. Add another 150, 200 tons for the trailers and the supports. So quite a lot of weight in total.
With pipe sticking out on one side, there's just 20 centimetres clearance between the module and the tower. Jan Willem Munster is cargo superintendent on the Roldock Storm. To get the last module off safely, he has to keep his vessel absolutely level with the transport barge. Seawater is pumped onto his ship to compensate for all the weight that's leaving his deck.
We're doing the ballasting and we're driving off the last module. So we're doing quite well. All going to plan. I hope this one is off at 3 o'clock. So should be just in time for tea.
But at less than half a mile per hour, it's a slow process. And just as they're almost there, the module gets stuck halfway between the cargo ship and the barge. Each vessel's out of balance, and the suspension on the transporter is on the limit.
It's getting out of stroke, which would mean that the axle is not putting any weight on the barge and more weight is spread to the other axles. Using a tape measure is the quickest way to do it. Using a laser just takes batteries, etc. Good old-fashioned tape measure, that's how you do it.
They have to use more seawater ballast to try and get the vessels level again, so the suspension can cope over the ramp.
Okay, Michel, we're ready to start rolling again.
Last axle on the barge, discharge completed. Everything has been discharged on the barge and now we can start cleaning up and prepare the vessel for the next project.
Jan Willem's job may be done, but Michiel's work has only just begun.
A successful discharge, both the modules have been transferred from the Roldock vessel onto our barge. The hardest bit is still to come.
To take the modules to the oil refinery, the fully loaded barge must travel 2.5 miles across one of the busiest waterways in world shipping. The following morning, the 91-metre-long Dina launcher is free of its mooring.
Modules are safely on the barge now. We've just cast off from the Mammoth premises and now we're on our way to the Shell refinery.
Both modules' combined weight is more than 2,300 tons. But they've been lashed and welded to support blocks attached to the deck of the barge.
There's nothing special about the barge. It's just a big shoebox made of steel.
The Dina launcher has no power and can't go anywhere without two 700 horsepower tugs, one to pull and one to push. At low tide, they guide the barge across the water at just 2 miles per hour. Each module teetering 34 meters above the water. If any ship cuts across their path, the rear tug would have to apply reverse thrust to bring the barge to a halt. An hour later, the modules arrive safely.
Once we arrive at the Shell, then it's hands-on again. The row-go operation over there is going to be a bit more challenging because we will be tide dependent. We can only use the upper part of the tide and we only have about a window of about 2.5 hours to complete the row-go operation.
Once docked, the barge is secured in place by the winch ropes. A hinged, flexible roll-on, roll-off ramp connects the floating platform to land.
We've arrived at the Shipment Refinery. We're now preparing the row ramp, adding the last wedges. The ramp is too steep at the moment to do the operation, so we have to wait for the tide to come up. Once it's more up, we can start the drive-off operation.
But high tide's not until nightfall.
Darkness means that you can see less, there's a lot more trip hazards. You have to make sure the barge keeps stable, which is difficult to see during the dark.
And to make matters worse, Michiel has got just a 2-hour window of high tide to get both modules safely on land. He needs the water level at maximum height to keep the barge horizontal to the shore.
The tide is something we can't change. It's depending on the moon and the weather. We have about a 2-meter tidal window here in Rotterdam. For this operation, can only use the upper 50 centimeters of the high tide. Once the modules are on land, then my heart rate goes down a bit.
The port of Ipswich, Suffolk. A shipment of trucks, tractors and excavators is on its way to the Caribbean by cargo ship. It's 6 in the morning and logistics manager Des Knott is overseeing the load up.
We've got 28 people ready to start loading the vessel. Everybody's here, everybody's on time, the crane driver's ready to go. All in all, 51 moves to go. We've got 12 hours, let's crack on and do it.
The Bow Trader is a cargo ship, so the trucks can't be driven on and must be lifted using more traditional methods.
The cab trucks will have nets applied to each wheel and they'll be lifted on. So they drive over the nets, then they'll lift gently and then begin to lower it into the cargo hold. There'll be a supervisor in the cargo hold that's watching the cargo coming over his head. He'll be speaking to the crane driver by radio, giving him instructions. There'll also be hand signals, which are universal.
The quayside crane at Ipswich is nearly 29 metres high and can handle up to 40 tonnes per lift. The trucks can weigh up to 25 tonnes each and must be perfectly balanced despite the time pressure.
We calculated that every hour we have to achieve 4 lifts onto the vessel to get it finished today. Every 10 minutes we want to see a lift on the vessel. We'll keep the pressure on.
Time's tight for Des to fill the 400 square metre lower deck of the Bow Trader, almost 2 tennis courts of space.
We're all going on board the ship now, so we'll have a look at the stowage, what's been achieved so far, see how the lashing's progressed, see how we can make it go a little bit faster because we're slipping a little bit on time.
Ready?
Lead the way, boss.
30% of the vehicles need to go in the lower deck.
Watch out, chain, this end.
They're 2 hours into the operation and Des is keeping count.
We've got 11 pieces of trucks already loaded. It's slowing down a little bit because in the nature of the operation, as things get a little bit tighter, there's less room for people to move around, and watching the trucks come in, we've got to slot them into less and less space.
For now, they're on schedule, with 8 vehicles loaded in 2 hours. But maritime lashing laws must still be applied.
We have to go 3 times the weight of the cargo. So this machine is 50 tonnes. So we have to apply a minimum of 150 tonnes of force onto this to this machine to keep it guaranteed in position that it won't move. On the D-rings, which are fixed to the vessel, these are generating 27 tonnes of force. So the calculation is 27 tonnes. We've got 27 tonnes, we've got 50 tonnes, we've got 75 tonnes. On each side, we've got 150 tonnes of cargo restraint, which is in line with the guidelines. So therefore, under the worst sea conditions, this isn't going to move.
Crane driver John Scott must get each vehicle on board safely.
Well, there's 12 people on board, what I can count so far, what I can see. And you have to watch out for all of them.
You compare this to a game of Jenga or Tetris. The idea is to maximise the space.
The challenge really is a lot of people working in the hold to make sure nothing gets hit or nobody gets injured.
And John is always operating partially blind.
They can't see anything. They've just been told where to steer and go back and forward. So they really need to be a good team to do this. That's really important for them. And trust each other.
4 hours into the load-up, and they're just one vehicle away from filling up the lower deck.
10 o'clock in the morning, we're ahead of schedule. 6 o'clock is still looking good for us.
But the optimism doesn't last. The lower deck's last truck won't start, and they can't drive it onto the slings.
So Benny, it's not working.
No, the unit stopped running when it was on the nets and no way to get it started again.
Well, we'll pull it out of the way if we can and see if we can get it going in the meantime and get it on deck if we can, but otherwise...
I don't think it will be running anymore.
Yeah. Sadly, it looks like we've lost 2 units off the load list, but this one which is broken down, and up in the yard where we held the trucks, it was a little bit wet and one's got stuck in the mud.
Portsmouth, Hampshire, historic home of the British Royal Navy. A former military base and in South Sea, home to 2 Second World War tanks. In command today, Andrew Goodman and the team from MoveRight International. With an unusual job, transporting both for restoration and repair.
Got to remove from the front of the museum 2 Second World War tanks. The first one is a Churchill tank and weighs approximately 40 tonnes.
The Churchill Crocodile was developed to attack German fortifications on D-Day and had a built-in flamethrower which could reach over 150 metres.
The second one is a Sherman tank, which weighs about 32 tonnes.
The 1943 Sherman Grizzly was built in Canada. Only 188 were made, and it's nearly 6 metres long.
These tanks are going away for refurbishment at an installation not far from here.
The tanks will be leaving Southsea and travelling just 3 miles along the coast to Fort Cumberland.
So today, in order to move the tanks from their current positions, we've got a 350-tonne capacity cranes.
It's one of the biggest cranes in the country, weighing 90 tonnes. It's got a 70-metre reach, and with the tanks just 10 metres apart, they need to decide where to put the crane for the most efficient lift.
Rather than having to move the crane to set it up once and then to move it again down the street to make the second lift, we've decided that if we can set it up once and do the 2 lifts from the one position, then obviously that will save quite a lot of time later on today.
The crane is so heavy, the outriggers must set up to avoid a minefield of utilities under the road, which could be crushed during the lift.
We've had to carry out a detailed survey of the roads roundabout, obviously making sure that we weren't on top of any gas pipelines, electric lines, etc., etc. So we've had to pick our spot very carefully where to set the crane.
With the crane in between both tanks, the 40-tonne Churchill Crocodile is the first to be lifted.
Instead of having 4 lifting points on the top of the tank, it's actually only got 3. 2 to the rear and 1 to the front, so it could potentially be a little bit unstable.
It falls to lift supervisor James Carson to make sure 3 8-metre-long nylon slings are attached to the 3 built-in hoops with bow shackles.
It's nice to be involved with stuff like this. It sort of beats your day-to-day stuff. Day-to-day building work, site work.
But as soon as the crane driver puts a bit of tension on, there's a problem.
Cutting into the sling on the end, the scrubber and that. See just where we're lifting it here. Start cutting into the sling. As soon as we pull weight on it, it's pulling against it.
With almost 80 years of military history behind the sharp metal edge, it could cut through the sling in mid-air. 40 tonnes of tank could smash into the tarmac and rupture a gas pipe.
So we need either some timber or some rubber or something.
Well, she's down in the van down there to the place. Hang on.
Lift supervisor James Carson needs to come up with a quick solution.
Hang on a minute, yeah.
It's just packing it out so it doesn't cut the strops out. Little sharp edge there. As soon as it pulls against the strop, it's going to cut the strop.
Rubber mats are the first line of defence for a strong but not indestructible sling.
A nylon or a web-based material. So what we've done is just put a bit of timber, give a bit of protection around the sharp edges, basically. It's amazing how often an odd scrap of timber has saved the day.
The lift can finally begin, and 40 tons of tank can take to the air. But despite surviving the Second World War, just as it's about to go on the trailer, a flagpole and bus stop threaten the Churchill's progress. In Rotterdam, Michiel Smeetsers is at the final stage of delivering 2 huge modules for the Shell oil refinery.
The modules are still on the barge now. Once the tide is good enough, we can start driving onto the ro-ro ramp. The modules are going to continue into the refinery. We're going to make a wide turn to the right over here, and then it's about 200 meters that way, and that's where we're going to position these modules.
The barge turned up 3 hours ago in daylight, but now it's pitch black, and they're forced to wait for the tide to bring the barge up to the height of the dock. They only have a 2-hour window to complete the move before the tide recedes again.
Watch when you're walking on the barge, it's still a lot of pipes, a lot of hoses and also some open tank holes. Okay, if no further questions, good luck and let's get these modules off.
At 6 o'clock, with the tide at its peak, the move can begin. Keeping barge and land level is a major challenge. The self-propelled modular trailers have a limited suspension.
We have to watch for the tide now. The ramp is going to move if the barge is moving, of course. The barge is going to sink in and this ramp is going to go down again. But the tide is pushing it back up, so we have to make sure that we stay within the hydraulics of the SPMT.
But as the transporters move the 850-ton module onto land, the barge gets lighter.
So the first module is now coming off, so the barge wants to come up, so we use a second module to drive forward and push the weight down again. In the meantime, we're ballasting on the back to try and keep the barge down.
They only have 1 hour to move each module. After 50 minutes of manoeuvres, the tide prepares to turn, and the first module must be landed in less than 10 minutes. But unexpectedly, the barge starts to twist.
We've got about 1 centimeter difference between port side and starboard, which is well within tolerance. Bow and aft, there's about a difference of 50 centimeters, but as the barge is 100 meters long, that's well within the tolerance.
Finally, after an hour, the first module is off. They've now got just 60 minutes to get the second one on land.
We got the first module off, and now starting on the second module, slowly moving forward. We're still on the high tide.
While Michiel gets the second move prepared, the team at the oil refinery use the transporters to get the module to its installation position. It's a 150-meter narrow path, passing just centimeters from the existing modules installed over the last 12 months. As the complex bundle of pipework lands at its final destination, Michiel has got just a few minutes before he loses the high tide, and the 1,350-ton module still has 10 meters to go before it's on land.
The last module is exiting the ramp, a couple axles to go, and then we're done. Still cold.
But with just a few minutes to spare before the high tide runs out, the second module makes it safely into the refinery grounds.
My job's done, I'm happy. It's up to the others now to do the final installation. I'm gonna go get a drink.
After nearly 2 years of planning, it's been a remarkable engineering achievement. And when the new modules are installed, Shell will have the ability to refine crude oil into cleaner petrol and diesel. the port of Ipswich, Suffolk. Logistics manager Des Knott has just a day to load more than 50 trucks onto a cargo ship and get them off to the Caribbean. But one of them has broken down.
It's such a shame, but what can you do?
Nothing.
Yeah. So 2 units down, but hopefully we can get on with the operation any moment now and get the hatch covers down and have the whole afternoon to prepare the deck and load the deck.
5 hours into the load-up, they're halfway there, and the inner hold can be closed with 17 vehicles squeezed inside. The remaining items must find room on the top deck. Crane driver John Scott slotting them in exactly the right place, some just 15 centimetres apart.
We picked up good speed. We need 2 more lifts on hatch cover number 2. And then we have 1 hour work left on hatch cover number 1, so it seems we will finish in time.
The winter conditions en route mean every vehicle on the top deck is vulnerable and extra precautions are required.
Sailing through the Bay of Biscay is going to be a pretty rough passage, and the vessel's going to be pitching and rolling and listing, so they've doubled the lashings, and I'm just having a quick check to make sure that nothing's going to move, slide across the deck. This is going to be rock solid and in place.
On the 2-week voyage across the Atlantic, the lashings will be checked 2 times a day. Second mate Marcus Saeed Sello must make sure nothing falls off on the way to the Caribbean.
During the journey, we have always to check the lashings, sometimes twice a day. Some of the cargo can smash into the ballast tanks, so we get a big leakage. It's pretty dangerous when you're on the ocean and there is no help. We're all alone.
By 5 o'clock, everything's on board, an hour ahead of schedule.
What we thought was a tall order was achieved. I'm dead chuffed, and I think the job has gone very, very well.
And she finally sets sail at 10 o'clock at night. The bow trader heads out through the English Channel and down across the Bay of Biscay to Gijón in northern Spain.
So, we have here a view from the bridge. So you can see all the trucks are still on the ship, all the lashings are checked, and everything is good.
Leaving Europe, the bow trader heads out into the Atlantic towards the Caribbean Sea.
26 degrees, we're in the middle of Atlantic Ocean. We had some good weather, much better than we expected. Still a bit of rolling. Guys checked the lashings today, everything was good. Always a dangerous job, but it has to be done by someone. And those guys are doing this every day.
365 days a year, cargo ship crew are risking their lives on the ocean to keep the global economy going. But 15 days after the bow trader left Ipswich, the crew and all the trucks arrived safely in Georgetown, Guyana. From the rain and snow on the motorways and A-roads of Britain to a new life in the sunshine. In Southsea, a 40-ton Churchill crocodile tank has got stuck between a flagpole and a bus stop. There's less than a metre either side between the tank and the uprights. But haulage boss Andrew Goodman is confident.
It is a bit of a tight what between the lamppost and the flagpole. Oh, and the chaps forward connect. That might be a little bit. He'll get it through there.
Let's go up now, Ben.
Lift supervisor James Carson has to guide a precious 6 by 3 metre chunk of military history through by hand.
So far, so good. We'll just wait till it's on the trailer, shall we?
A 20-metre long low loader will be taking the tank 3 miles down the road to the restoration shed at the 270-year-old military base, Fort Cumberland.
I've got about that much, Ben. Perfect.
Just put a few chains on there to hold it in place while we trundle up the road with it. Wouldn't want to lose this on the seafront at Southsea, would we? Cause a bit of a stir.
The Sherman tank is only 30 tons, but this time Andrew needs a different lifting strategy.
They've only got hoops. I mean, they're 60, 70 years old when the welds were done. The tanks have been sat in the sea air here. So rather than relying on those lifting points for this part of the lift, we're actually cradling the tank with these long boat slings going underneath the tank, under the main chassis, so that we've got it in a basket effect. Obviously the concern is though that it's quite sharp edges on the bottom of the steel frame. So again, to protect the lifting straps, we're putting rubber packers in behind.
The crane is using a heavy-duty lifting chain, and each 16-metre-long boat sling is strong enough to hold 32 tons each.
Okay, brilliant.
Each trailer is capable of carrying up to 250 tons.
The closer it is to the back of the trailer, hopefully the easier it'll be to get it off the other end.
But before they can tackle taking it off, they have a 3-mile journey down the coast to Fort Cumberland. It takes 10 people to move the tanks. 2 escort vans lead the way at 10 miles an hour. The 20-metre-long transporter carrying 30 tons of military history along South Sea seafront. All the drivers in constant radio communication to help the procession navigate the hazards. On arrival, getting access to the hangar is limited.
Backing into the building where the tanks are being stored, it's quite a narrow entrance, but Adam's done very well there. He's managed to get that in without causing too much damage to the grass. We don't like leaving our imprint.
It's a tight squeeze, but the Sherman retreats into its home for the next 18 months. The limited height in the hangar forces Andrew into a new lifting strategy for the tank.
Now, because we've got quite a low roof structure here, and we couldn't get a crane in with the jib up, as we haven't got that, what we're using here, this is called a mega lift system, and basically it's 4 hydraulic rams, one in each corner, and a steel beam across the top with lifting brackets on, and that's driven from 2 power packs, 1 at each end, so there's 2 independent operators, so they can lift the rams accordingly.
This time, it's only a 15-centimetre lift off the trailer, and the team are prepared to risk the 75-year-old lifting hoops.
We'll just lift the tank very gently off the bed of the trailer, then pull the trailer out from underneath, and then we can lower the whole system to the floor. Job done.
"30 tons of Canadian military hardware raised delicately so the trailer can pull out.
Just get it down on the floor.
Andrew's praying the 75-year-old hoops hold out for a few more centimetres. Safely down, the restoration engineers can now do their bit to recognise the sacrifice of the soldiers that used the tanks in anger.
A lot of young lads gave their lives for the democracy and the freedom that we have these days. It's good that we remember those that give the ultimate sacrifice. There's a great sense of relief, I suppose. Everything went as planned, so yes, it's been a good day. But we've now got these 2 historic relics of the Second World War safely ensconced in the shed. A good feeling of satisfaction and a job well done.
With the 75th anniversary of D-Day in June 2019, the team have just 18 months to restore the tanks. In a year and a half, they'll be put back on display to commemorate the Allied invasion of Normandy during the Second World War.